You learn, have your manual for living about how you should function in society, how are you mentally going to be, how you're going to be in every area. So last night before the show, or before today, I says, what is one of the things that I need to do so that today can go smoother? Because our first attempt to get on this show, on Sepia Radio, was on a Monday. And it was interesting how it was hit and miss. And Sweet Mark, the soul of Mark, says, oh, all right, this is my job. So he jumps in and he's working back and forth, trying to get my computer to work, the server to work, back and forth. It's a lot of huge information. I'm so glad that he's doing it. And so I don't have to do it alone in the world. And he knows how to talk to us, calm us down, help us because he's been there. He has a pathway, which then he also has behaviors and manners, which are very nice because he makes you feel as a family. He treats you just as smart. And when he teaches, he doesn't do it in the negative way that...
The condescending, he just says, okay, he's going to jump in, he's going to help us out, figure out what's going on, and if it happens, it happens, if it doesn't, it doesn't, and we'll just go with the flow.
Yeah, and he says, and I've learned that a while ago, no matter what's going on, just go with the flow. So as this started to occur again, because Mark had it all set up that it would run, and we're like, oh, we're confident that it'll run. Well, again, things don't just happen in your world. You will learn with the quantum law of attraction. So last night I said, what do I need to heal? Now, this is also hooked with my bronchial tubes. And Jen, if you could run in there and get the big book of bronchial, you know, the manual for...
The Brontosaurus.
Yeah, it's a gigantic book that this man have put it all together, and it's the body messages. Everybody probably has learned what Louise Hay is, but he made a thicker manual, and simply one of the things that it says is that they're messages from the body. So body parts represent life as. Now, as she's getting that book, I had asked last night, okay, I want to do this. I'm ready to be heard and be seen, because like I said, we make YouTube videos. Oh, my voice will fluctuate with weird stuff. So if you hear me do accents, I'm not trying to do anything. Sometimes they come through and they just like to give me a little bit of an oomph on something. So I don't know why. That's just tells me who's actually coming through and channeling, or at least the origin maybe, I don't know. But probably if I learned about voice accents, I would then know, oh yes, but I don't name them and label them, I just work with them. Now, there's all these different information, like the bronchial tubes, and if you're having these spasms, then it says God must be El Capone. Like I said, there's a whole different information here. And let's see what else. Ejected, rejected, and dejected. Angry, yelling, inflamed, dysfunctional family. Now, I didn't really have, in my opinion, I haven't had a really deep dysfunctional family. But that's because I've healed so much of the way I look at it. And I didn't have to have the brunt of it like the rest of my siblings. Okay? Because it's when my soul decided to come through. But my lungs represent about how you take in life. But my lungs also represent how I marked my life. How the energy, everything's energy. How the energy came into my space. Was it overpowering like a pimp? Was it coming through like an abuser, like an attacker? How was life coming to me? Now consciously, it'll just look fine. It'll look like an average family where you're yelling and fighting and you have to complain, you have to do this. You know, I don't even know if I can do swear words. Oops, I should ask. Mark, can I actually say the B word every now and then? I have a tendency when they come through, they kind of swear. I will do my best until we get that answer. We don't want anything to stop.
So I guess this is a show, I guess...
We may not have any breaks.
We may not have
unless
breaks.
Mark's listening and then he calls us. Because at this point, we don't know.
Right.
He can Skype us probably too.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
let's get back. What was I saying?
You're talking about how you take in life. So this idea, the book Messages from the Body comes from Michael J. Lincoln, PhD, to give him credit.
Awesome book.
And it's great. And Louise Hay has the book.
I love her book too. Pocket size.
You can heal your life or heal your body. And
Heal
it's
your
the
life.
same. It's the same concept as far as what's going on in our body is just another way that our soul is talking to us. So what we do as soul coaches, you might want to know what we do. We're going to explain who we are. As soul coaches, what we do is we look at life representation. And that's through the body, through aches and pains in the body, but also through mental stress and all sorts of those kinds of mental health issues. So it's all about health in the body and what's going on, because those are actually actual signals to pay attention to what's going on. Then you also look at, finances are a big indicator of what's going on in your life. Relationships are a big indicator of what's going on in your life. And then
health, financial, right? But there's
then we're going to talk about life purpose and what we're supposed to be doing on the planet. That it's not just about a job. But for me, myself, and I, all three of us, have answered a vocation. So I've got a vocation. So it's not just a job, but it's also a calling and what I'm supposed to be doing here on the planet. So we also help people tune in to that. So as soul coaches, we look at life representation. And it's also not just about the body, but it's also about animals. When we see animals come into our view, or insects, or bugs, or anything like this. This is all ways that the what we call the illusion. This is what the Matrix is talking to us, and it's like getting our pay attention. So it's these ways, the ways that life wants to get our attention. And as soul coaches, we help people tune into what those messages are about.
Oh, don't be stopping now. You're going to roll.
Okay, so
tell us about you.
Tell us about me. Okay, tell us. Tell everybody about me. So I am also a medicine woman, and that is a journey in and of itself. As a healing practitioner, to be a medicine woman means to be protected, that we have a tribe that or band that we participate with that actually helps kind of have our back as healing practitioners. Because, like we said, it's about life representation, looking at healing, health, hands-on healing, which is how both of us really started, and we're both Reiki masters, but it's also about different techniques in healing and processing out anything that's negative in our life. So that's one aspect of me, and another aspect is that I am an ordained clergy, and that's through the Swedenborgian Church of North America, and that's the church that I grew up in, but it's not your average everyday church. Yes, it is Christian, but it's also Christian mysticism. And so what Emanuel Swedenborg did is he did a different form of life representation through the Bible. That the Bible is not just taken at face value, that there is beauty and there's messages and there's amazing stories at face value, but there's also a deeper inner sense, and the story really is about us. From Genesis to Revelation, it's a story of us from birth to death and beyond. And so that's also, like I said, about representation. So the biggest thing is that what is here on the planet is a reflection of the spiritual world. And so a tree is not just a tree. The sky is not just the sky. A bird is not just a bird. So it really complements the idea of being a medicine woman, to look at life representation in that way, and then also in a deeper theological understanding. So there's all forms of understanding what this thing is called life, how to interpret it, and also how to awaken as a spiritual human on this planet.
You're doing really good. So getting back to the little side swipe, because here's about life going on as we speak. As I'm listening to you, God said, shut up, look over where it says duration of music. I said, oh, okay, and it had a bunch of little question marks. And what we're referring to is the playlist that we had up. What happened was the playlist that we chose, we had worked on it, we pulled it from the archives, but the problem was, wait for it, it was on my little handheld recorder, so when I transferred the files, there was no hard copy on the computer. The hard copy. So what it is taking life with face value and not and like reading it like a bumper sticker, which means it goes quickly. It's not chronic. It's not even acute. It's just real quick. It's a bumper sticker. It's a snippet. And when you are learning new habits and learning new things, one of the things that you end up learning is that, like when somebody says, "Oh, it's flu season." That's a bumper sticker because you don't have the flu, but you know that you have a power of suggestion, and that is out there. And when that occurs, the bumper sticker is that if you have a program, not in the conscious mind, but in the subconscious mind, that's running that says, oh, when somebody says that, I'm supposed to be cued and triggered to, okay, what's the symptoms of the flu? Okay, we have to start creating it, and your molecules and the words and the thoughts is what really creates whether you're sick or not. It is how you believe in it and the decisions you make which determine how sick you're going to be. And it all is based on your brain and the programs to whether or not, if that thought, because you create chemical peptides with those thoughts. And what happens when you create chemical peptides, Jen?
They have to go somewhere. If they're positive peptides, then that's life force giving. If they're negative peptides, or based on a negative thought or emotion, then they're going to be those little things that go in to deplete. Mm-hmm. And then with that, each negative has an organ that it's assigned to. So the peptide, you think about resentment. Oh, I really resent the crap out of that person. That peptide knows right where to go. And
it stores in an organ. And it also creates an energy cord coming from you, which I call entanglement cords, that create it. If you're supposed to have to experience it, you know, you may not realize you're thinking about it. You may not realize it's a program that your soul wants you to heal. So we'll then create it out there, and then somebody will jolly come along, whether it's a phone or it's in person or wherever you're at. It could even be the cat. It could be your furniture breaking. But it has to show you what resentment is from every perception that's possible, because we're like kaleidoscope when we use our perception. We think we just focus on one wave of potential and that's it. Sometimes we get too stuck on one wave of potential. But we'll get more on that later. So Jen, tell people why is it important that we come together. I mean, you kind of said it because that's who you are, but one of the things that we want to teach is so pioneering, because in the pioneers way back when, they had it rough because it was first introduced. It's like the first time that the world was introduced that it's not flat, it's round. You know, it's ridiculous sounding. There's no pathways, and part of our job is to come in and feed you that. And I said feed you because it depends on where your soul is and how it wants to be nurtured. So as we teach and we walk our talk, we are feeding everything around us in the first place. Because it's, you know, feeding it all that life force.
So it goes to the awesome movie, What the Bleep Do We Know?
Yes.
And it reminds me of the shaman who's standing out on the beach, and this is when the 3 ships of Columbus come to land, and the people, the tribe, they wouldn't know a ship if it hit them upside the head. They had no pathway for it. They had their own life. They had their own culture. They had everything that was going on. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't just, hey, we're going to show up. The shaman went out and actually started paying attention to the waves. Started looking at the pattern. There was something different in the way that the water was coming to shore. And then eventually was able to tap into whatever you want to call it, code, of a ship. And could actually see, wait, it's not just the water changing, there's something impacting it. What is impacting the water? And eventually the ship took shape. Aha, ship shape.
Shape shifter. Oh.
Okay, so, and so then the shaman was able to translate that information to a way that the tribe would understand.
Right.
And so it's translating. So as medicine women, part of what we do, we come together, is we take a look at what is out there, and it's understanding that there are realities coming into focus that people just can't see right now, and it's taking that and interpreting it and being the pioneer of explaining what's going on.
You don't even have to be a shaman, you can be an everyday person. How many people invent things? Do you wonder where those inventions come from?
Well, if they watch infomercials in the middle of the night, they understand the 800 number of how to do that.
Oh, but there is this realm of thought that's basically there, and we basically connect up and receive information about what it is. This is more about defining who you are, the core of who you are. What are you supposed to do?